Hey gang, Ronin here. As you can see in this game, I'm playing the Tier 10 Pan-Asian destroyer Yueyang. Matchmaking, well, it's about as good as it ever gets, I guess, these days. There's no CV, that's a big plus. Although I rarely run radar on the ship, I usually run smoke, largely because of the threat of CVs, and the smokes on these ships are just fantastic. They don't last that long, but you have a whole bunch of them. As you can see, I've got 5 of them. And they're great for breaking contact from other ships and or hiding from aircraft. There's a little bit of radar on the other team in the form of the Talon, so there's that to worry about. I spawned center, so I'm going to try and stay center. We'll see what the rest of the team does. I'm very happy to see that we have a Venom on the team. That's an outstanding ship that just puts out massive amounts of torpedoes. We also have an Akazuki, which is, of course, a gunboat. The success or failure of those ships is, of course, like any other ship, more dependent upon the skill level of the player than the ship itself, but they're both very good ships. And the flip side of the coin, looking at the red team, in terms of their destroyers, they've got a Sherman, which is just, well, it's an amazingly powerful destroyer. Kitakaze and Asashio, which, while it has the deep water torpedoes that can only hit battleships and aircraft carriers, does have decent guns, if terrible turret traverse and slow reload. And an amazing, I think, 5.4 kilometer detection radius if the commander of the ship is properly spec'd, or what I consider properly spec'd. You know, your mileage may vary. Now, why did I pull up here? Well, because I don't know where the radar is yet, and I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm nose in and suddenly I'm getting taking fire from multiple directions because I pushed into radar. I can see where the Talon is on the minimap now, and I know I've got a little bit of room here to maneuver. And if he does push this way and I do get radared, I can run that direction right there. So I'm not too concerned about pushing this direction. Now I'm going to try and turn the ship around so that I can, I'm watching the Talon, but he's moving away now. I'm turning the ship so that I can push into the Bravo cap and help the Salmon cap it, and still end up with my nose pointed away from the radar. The radio position finder or radio location skill is telling me that's the nearest ship. I doubt that there's another ship closer than Kitakaze, so I don't have to worry about being spotted here. You can see the detection radius on the ship is 5.8 kilometers, second only to the Shimakaze. Slow down, make sure I don't get in the way of these torpedoes. Now I could fire on the Kitakaze, but I think I'm going to hold my fire for now and try and help get this cap secured before I do that. Now I'm radared, so I have to move. And I'm going to go ahead and throw some torpedoes out in case Talon decides to move north. I don't want to just be a sitting duck, so I'm going to, hit the speed boost, run this direction. And the radar didn't last that long. I think he must have fired it, trying to catch the Venom, and then just move just close enough to me for me to be able to get caught in it. Nope, he is definitely not running north, so those torpedoes will be for naught. If Kitakaze continues to come this way, I will just kind of sit at the angle that I'm at right now, more or less, and maybe I can get some shells on him. Akazuki secured the Alpha cap, so right now we're doing fairly well. We've got 2 caps, bad guys don't have any. Go ahead and put some shells in the air. And you can see that the enemy Salmon has just moved into the Alpha cap. And I'm just going to try and convince the Kitakaze that he doesn't want to sit in the smoke. I do manage to land 4 shells on him, and we'll see whether or not he's willing to sit there. And I'm going to head this way for two reasons. Venom does catch the Kitakaza and takes him out of the game. And now we are up. The good guys are up one ship. We've got still full complement of 12 ships. Bad guys have lost the Kitakaza. Now down to 11 ships. And I'm going to see if I can catch this salmon. But if I can't catch the salmon, let's just say that he's reversed and he's moving back toward where you can see the Palmer and Vladivostok. I may be able to run north here and get behind the bad guys. Now, they didn't leave anybody center. They all moved to the flanks. And that's really dangerous. Because if you have a DD player who knows what they're doing, they can push through your line, get behind you, and cause all kinds of problems. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on this Vladivostok because I don't want him to reverse to the point where I get detected. See, I can spot the Johann de Witt.
Concentrate fire on the target.
And I'm debating about whether to throw torpedoes around in this area. I think I'm going to. And I think I'm going to throw them at the Johann de Witt. He may run. If he does, he's pushing right into all of our guys. But I think I'm going to be able to squeeze through this gap and get north of them. Meanwhile, our Benham is in the Charlie cap, and he's just secured that. So right now we have 3 caps to none advantage, and we have a 1-ship advantage. But our Iowa is in big trouble, and it is about to get sucked. So that's about to change.
Our team has taken the lead.
And the red Hindenburg just burns down our Iowa, and then the Vladivostok takes out our Zieten. And suddenly, while we do have a points lead, we are down on ships, and I've been detected by the salmon, which is not good. So I'm just going to worry right now about getting out of sight. They will know that I'm back here, but I don't know that they're going to be able to do a whole lot about it unless the salmon moves this way. I think he's probably going to want to focus on getting the cap secured. And you just never know. I don't know what the skill level of these other players is. Maybe none of them ever looks at the mini-map. It is not impossible that none of them is even aware I'm here. It's unlikely, though. They probably do. Riga fires off the radar, catches the Asashio. And our guys at the Charlie cap, well, they're in pretty good shape, but I'm a little concerned that they seem to be pushing up behind the islands when really they could fall back a little bit and just let Benham with torpedoes keep pushing everybody back, and then they could all focus the Tallinn if they just spread out. See, where they are right now, they're all bunched up. Tallinn just has to hide from one of those battleships, and he's hiding from all of them. Now, all of them are probably a little bit afraid of spreading out because then whoever spreads out first becomes the target. But I'm very concerned that we're going to lose on that flank, even right now, even with all those ships that we have right there.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Now, I know the Vladivostok. He's going to push through that gap. He's going to try and finish off our Riga. He's going to try and help the Pommern. And you can see Riga is doing damage to the Pommern. Presumably the Mainz is as well. I'm hoping Akazuki is also firing at the Pommern. And Vladivostok is going to try and push right through that gap and just completely blap the Riga. Now, I'm hoping Akazuki is going to get torpedoes out, which is why I said he's pushing through. Torp him if he can. Riga thought I was talking to him. Now, I know all my torpedoes aren't going to make it through that gap. I'm just really hoping that enough of them make it through that gap to catch that cruiser. Our Riga does take out the Pommern. Now, the torpedoes on this ship, they are amazing. You can't hit destroyers with them, but they have a 0.8 kilometer detection range. So by the time someone sees them, it is far too late to do anything about it. Even right now, Hindi has no idea, unless he has hydro going, and obviously he doesn't, or he'd be turning already. Their Hindenburg does manage to finish off our Riga, and it looks like I'm going to catch the Hindi with 4 torpedoes, and that's going to be enough to sink it.
Enemy cruiser sunk.
The torpedoes hit really hard. Max damage 18,800 a pop. And as I mentioned, they're super hard to see. By the time you see them, it's too late. So our guys now are going to be kind of enveloped. You can see they're all kind of bunched up there. Iowa has moved a little bit. Well, the other Iowa has moved a little bit, but he's going to kind of be crossfired, right? I mean, he's got a red Iowa and Marlboro and De Grosse on one side, and he's got a Vladivostok and David and a couple and a DD and a submarine on the other side. So pushing into the Bravo Cat by this Iowa was, well, he's calling for help, but really the only help that he needs is to learn to play more strategically and have a little bit more tactical awareness and look at the minimap and say, yeah, I'm not going to push into a crossfire, which is what he's done. Now I'm going to hope to catch the Marlboro here, but we'll see. You can see he's slowing down, so I'll just give it a second. Let's see what he's going to do. I think he's probably going to sit back there and just fire from long range. He doesn't have to get closer to the Iowa. And the Iowa's guns are probably faced forward. He was probably trying to get guns on the Salmon. So right now, things don't look terrible. I mean, we've got 2 caps. The bad guys have only got 1. We're down 3 ships. The bad guys are down 4. But we lose our Akazuki and then that Iowa that I was talking about. And our Venom does manage to take out the Sherman, which is great. But I'm, again, still really concerned because our guys are just, they're all grouped up. I mean, we've got Des Moines, Jean Bart, and De Grosse kind of all in one square. And that is really hardly ever going to work. This is a game about angles and spreading out in order for somebody to be able to get broadside. Am I going to get 3? Nope, just 2. 3 would have done the trick, or very close, but 2 is not enough. Now we've got all those battleships back there, but they're just focused on the Iowa right in front of them. Or the De Grosse that's sitting back there kind of behind an island. I expect our guys are going to lose. They're enveloped. Our Des Moines goes down. We're now down to 6 ships. Bad guys still have 7. And our Venom is too close to the Iowa. I think he's liable to get spotted, and if he does, he's going to get sunk. So I'm going to follow this Vladivostok and see if I can't sink him. I've got 14 seconds till the torpedoes come back up. Why am I just sticking with the torpedo reticule? Because it doesn't show him that I'm here if I do that. He knows he's detected, but he doesn't know he's targeted. You know, and there's a captain skill you can take that'll tell you if you're being targeted. And as long as you've got the torpedo reticule and not the gun reticule,
All stations requesting fire on the designated
it
target.
won't show them as being targeted. Now I'm going to keep a real close eye on this Vladivostok, and I'm hoping our guys will finish off that De Grosse before they get sunk. There they do. Okay. So we've still got Jean Bart and De Grosse out there, and I know I was talking about how I was really worried that our guys were going to lose on that side, and I still am. There, Johann de Witt and Asashio and Salmon are pushing into our Salmon and our Venom, and they caught him. And I was really hoping our Venom was going to get the heck out of there and run south. But he didn't. He sat there, and he got sunk. You can see my comment in the chat box there. You know, what are you going to do? So we're down to 4 ships. Bad guys have 5. We have a significant points lead on the back of our having secured caps early, but you know, this could still go to the other team. Now I'm going to keep an eye again, like I mentioned, on this Vladivostok. I still think our De Grosse and Jean Bart should be focusing the Marlboro, but they're I think firing at the Johann de Witt that's right in their face. You know, you heard me talk about this is a game about angles and getting broadsides, and well, that's what that Marlboro's doing, and he's doing a really good job, and he's forcing the Jean Bart and the De Grosse to have to choose where they're going to angle. Now, if they kill him, they can just angle against a straight line from Charlie Cap through to A, right? As long as the Marlboro is out there, they have to worry about being crossfired. Now, Jean Bart does manage to finish off the Johann de Witt, but at the cost of a lot of his HP. Now, why did I hit the speed boost? Because my torpedoes are ready, as the Johann de Witt did burn down our De Grosse. My torpedoes are ready, and it looks to me like, looking at the minimap, that the Vladivostok went nose into the island. So I'm hoping I can catch him here still broadside enough to finish him off. As we lose our Jean Bart, 2 torpedoes from the Salmon. And I really feel like I have to take this guy out if we're going to have any chance. Now, he's going to do big damage. He's probably just waiting for me. And he is. You can see his guns are his guns are pointed right at me. But you know, it's going to cost him. I'm going to slow down here and smoke up. He's still going to smash me pretty good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The ship is on fire.
In 5 minutes.
Problem solved, sir.
But I do manage to finish him off. And can still win this. It's just me and the salmon. The salmon, he's dead. There's nothing he can do. He's nose into the bad guys at close range, and as you'll see in the chat box in a minute,
Reset.
when he gets pinged, he doesn't even know. He hasn't played enough or played subs enough to know how you even stop a ping. You know, or he doesn't know you can damage count in order to stop that. So he just gets eaten up here and gets sunk. Now I'm going to try to secure this cap, but then I need to fall back because I know he's about to die. I mean, so there he goes. So I just have to secure the cap. You can see where the radio location indicator is telling me they are. I'm going to get close to the island so that I have cover from the island if that Sashio pushes through this gap. And I'm just going to keep an eye on the radio location and see where he's at. Now, why am I turning around? Why am I
Deactivate.
full speeding this direction? Because if I can just stay alive, I think we have this on points. Now I'm going to try and keep my guns to the side. I think I'm liable to see the Asashio, just kind of looking at the indicator there. That's that little semicircular thing that you see. And I just expect him to pop up. He's going to try and get in this cap. There he is. And I'm going to hope to be able to outgun him as Marlboro gets some guns on me. Because if I can scare him out of the cap, that's a longer period of time until they start chewing into our lead. And I am able to get him to turn around. So I just bought us a little bit more time getting points from the Bravo cap. Managed to not get sunk, but you see I did lose a lot of HP. And now I just have to run. There is zero reason for me to engage. If the Marlboro lands a few shells on me, I'm gone. Marlboro lands a shell or two and a Sashio gets a volley on me, I'm dead. So I am right now just all about running. And I want to keep moving southwest. I want to try and stay out of detection range of the Asashio if at all possible. You can see my detection radius there on the mini-map 5.8. And now I see that the radio location indicator has moved, so he's moving back toward the cap now. So I'm going to turn the guns around here in just a second. I'm going to head more south. I'm going to run between these two islands that are kind of on my port side and just head for kind of, J1. But I want to be able to line up torpedoes, even though these torpedoes can't hit a destroyer. If he or the submarine come through that gap, maybe just reflexively they turn and run into the island rather than running straight into the Alpha cap. If I can even slow them down, that's good for us, because then we continue to get points. 1 minute and 42 seconds remain, and you can see that's what I'm doing. No chance of hitting either of them. The only thing that these torpedoes could hit is a Marlboro, and there's no way that Marlboro's going to get there in time. But if I can startle them enough to get them to change course and run into an island, then I consider that a victory. And right now, you can see, I've got the ship aimed into the corner. And there's the salmon player. How do you get rid of the ping? And this game's in the bag. Why did I show you this game? Because it was fun to play, because I think it's a good example of what the Yueyang can do. It's a good example of what positioning can do for you. I was able to kind of get through the middle, and I was able to put some torpedoes on two cruisers, which I think really helped. Our guys out there at Charlie, I know they all did their best, but sitting in one spot allows the bad guys to get angles on you, and it doesn't allow you to get any angles on the bad guy. And that's usually a recipe for disaster, which is essentially what happened. Have you ever played the Yueyang? Do you like the Pan-Asian destroyers? I think they're very fun. You can see it kind of sits low in the water. The guns are the same as the gearing, but they have a little bit slower reload, I think. But the torpedoes, if you like torpedo ships, I think you would really enjoy it. Thanks a lot for joining me here. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.